Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a set of replacement pickguard, tailpiece, and truss rod cover out of this diamond plate material for a Jackson RR5T Rhoads. This was some extra bonus footage from an episode of Trash to Thrash where we rebuilt a really nice Jackson RR5T neck through guitar into a killer stealth crackle with a high gloss and really nice texture on it. It's a really cool guitar. I'll link to it in the video description here if you haven't seen it. My shop assistant Ryan did all this work, and what he did here was trace the pickguards onto the diamond plate, and then he used this straight edge and clamped it to his workbench so he can use that straight edge to ride his angle grinder along and get a nice perfect straight edge on there. Next, we busted out the belt sander to smooth all the edges down, and it also creates a perfectly flat edge too, so if there was any inconsistency along these long edges, then that should be corrected. These things turned out really good so far. To drill out all the holes, we used a drill press, and then we finished them with a chamfer bit. And then I lightly sanded them with 600 grit sandpaper just to scuff them a little bit to prep them for paint. I mounted the pickguard and truss rod cover and tailpiece to pieces of wood that I'm using as handles, not only to make it a little easier while I'm working with them, but also when I go to set them down, I have jigs set up that I can set them into so they can dry. I used industrial strength double-sided tape to mount them to these pieces of wood that'll just pop right off when I'm done. There were a couple little dust nibs and imperfections on them, so I sanded those spots lightly with some 600 grit sandpaper, and now it's time to throw some clear on there. I used Spray Max High Gloss Clear Glamour for this. I did a couple coats of clear on them, and that built up enough clear that I can lightly sand a few little imperfections out if I need to. They turned out really nice. The diamond plating's a little tricky to sand level because the tread has a lot of angles and edges that if you hit too many times or too hard with sandpaper, you'll burn right through your paint and clear. I had a couple dust nibs on here, so I lightly sanded them, and now I'm going to re-polish them. The truss rod cover and the tailpiece turned out pretty good, so I don't think I need to really sand anything off those. But I will work on the pickguard a little more. I polished these pickguards a while back before I got my StewMac buffer. At the time, I was using this bench-mounted buffer from Harbor Freight, and it didn't have variable speed, and it spun a little too quickly, so I don't recommend using this one. I just tried it a few times, and this is one of the times that I did use it. If I had to go back, I would probably buff this out by hand. This bench-mounted buffer spins a little too quick and generates too much heat, and will burn through your clear if you try to use this on something like a guitar, because it's just spinning way too quickly and creating too much heat. Also, the buffing wheels are very small, so they're concentrating down on a real small surface area where they're hitting at a time, and that's another part of the problem. If they were a lot bigger, they'd be able to go over a bigger surface area and dissipate some of that heat. Ultimately, I was able to get these things looking awesome with this buffer. Check them out. Let me know what you think, and be sure to check out the episode of Trash to Thrash featuring these pickguards. There's episode 31 with the Jackson Rhoads that I did back in season 2, and the more recent episode 59 with the Stealth Crackle Rhoads. I'll link it at the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Be sure to be subscribed to this channel and the main Guitar Guts channel, link in description. If you have any questions or want to send your guitar into the show to be featured on Trash to Thrash and have a new finish or be rebuilt, send me an email to mark@guitarguts.com. Thanks so much for watching. Rock on, my friends.